There's a silent war happening every single day, and most people don't even know they're fighting in it. It's the war for control over your attention, your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately your life. Look around you. People are drowning in anxiety about things they cannot change. They're enslaved to their emotions, reacting impulsively to every trigger. They're manipulated by algorithms, advertisers, and anyone who understands their psychological buttons. They believe they're free, but they're puppets dancing to strings they never learned to see. Meanwhile, a small percentage of people operate entirely differently. They remain calm when others panic. They see opportunities where others see only chaos. They make decisions based on principle rather than impulse. These people understand something the masses don't. They understand the Stoic power moves that create true control over their inner and outer world. What I'm about to share with you isn't common knowledge. These aren't the watered-down Stoic quotes you see on social media, the ones that get thousands of likes but change nothing in people's lives. These are the actual practices that separate those who control their reality from those who are controlled by it. And if you're wondering why only 1% truly understand and apply these principles, it's because they require something most people are unwilling to give: brutal honesty with yourself and the discipline to act against your natural impulses. The question you need to ask yourself right now is simple. Do you want to be part of the 99% who go through life being pushed around by circumstances and emotions? Or do you want to join the 1% who have mastered themselves and their response to the world? Before we go deeper, I need you to do something. If you're serious about gaining this level of control, if you genuinely want to stop being a victim of your circumstances and emotions, subscribe to this channel right now. We're building a community of people who are committed to mastery, not just over external achievements, but over themselves. That's the real power. Hit that notification bell because every video we create is designed to give you specific tools for taking back control. Now let's begin. The first power move that separates the 1% from everyone else is this: they have mastered the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, one of the foundational Stoic philosophers, taught that everything in life falls into two categories: things within your control and things outside your control. And here's what he discovered: the primary source of human suffering comes from trying to control things that aren't controllable while neglecting the things that are. Think about what you worry about on a daily basis. Most people spend enormous mental energy worrying about other people's opinions, future events that may never happen, past events that cannot be changed, the weather, the economy, politics, what others say about them, whether they'll get the outcome they want. None of these things are within your control. Meanwhile, the things that are completely within your control, your thoughts, your interpretations, your responses, your effort, your character, your principles, these receive almost no attention. The 1% have reversed this completely. They've trained themselves to immediately recognize when they're worrying about something outside their control, and they redirect that energy toward what they can actually influence. This sounds simple, but it's revolutionary in practice. When something goes wrong, the masses ask, "Why is this happening to me?" The 1% ask, "How can I respond to this in a way that aligns with my principles?" When someone treats them poorly, the masses stew in resentment and anger. The 1% recognize that they cannot control how others behave, only how they respond to that behavior. Marcus Aurelius, who was literally the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, wrote extensively about this principle. Despite having more external power than almost anyone in history, he focused relentlessly on internal control. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Here was a man who commanded armies and ruled an empire, and he understood that true power isn't about controlling external circumstances, It's about controlling your inner state regardless of external circumstances. When you truly internalize this, it changes everything. You stop being anxious about things you cannot influence. You stop being angry at people for not meeting your expectations. You stop feeling helpless because you recognize that you always have control over the most important thing: yourself. The second power move is learning to use negative visualization to build psychological resilience. This practice, called premeditatio malorum by the Stoics, involves regularly imagining worst-case scenarios not to feed anxiety, but to prepare your mind and remove the power these scenarios have over you. Most people avoid thinking about bad things that could happen because it makes them uncomfortable. They practice a form of magical thinking where they believe that if they don't think about something bad, it won't happen. This leaves them psychologically unprepared and devastated when difficulties inevitably arise. The 1% do the opposite. They regularly contemplate loss, failure, rejection, and hardship. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher and advisor to emperors, practiced this daily. He would imagine losing his wealth, his position, his health, even his life. But he didn't do this to torture himself. He did it to prepare his mind and to appreciate what he currently had. He wrote, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." Think about how powerful this is. When you've already mentally rehearsed something going wrong, when it actually happens, you don't panic. You don't freeze. You've already processed the emotional shock in advance, so you can move directly to problem solving and adaptation. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you're worried about losing your job. Most people push this thought away and hope it doesn't happen. Someone using this Stoic power move would spend time actually imagining it in detail. What would you do? How would you survive? What skills could you leverage? Who could you reach out to? What opportunities might actually open up? By the time you're done with this mental exercise, you've accomplished several things. First, you've removed the paralyzing fear because you've proven to yourself that you could handle it. Second, you've actually prepared a response plan. Third, you've generated gratitude for currently having the job. Fourth, you've often discovered that the worst-case scenario, while unpleasant, isn't the catastrophe your vague anxiety made it seem. The third power move is understanding and implementing the Stoic concept of amor fati, the love of fate. This goes beyond acceptance. This is about training yourself to not just accept what happens, but to actively embrace it as necessary and even beneficial. Nietzsche, who was heavily influenced by Stoic thought, wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati." That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. This sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? How can you love everything that happens, including painful experiences? But the 1% have discovered something crucial. Your resistance to reality is what causes your suffering, not reality itself. When something unexpected happens, you have two choices. You can spend energy resisting it, being angry about it, wishing it were different, all of which accomplishes nothing except making you miserable. Or you can immediately accept it and ask, how can I use this? The 1% have trained themselves to make the second choice automatically. They don't waste time in resistance. A business fails, okay, what did I learn? What's the next move? A relationship ends. What did this teach me about myself? How do I grow from this? An opportunity falls through. What other doors might this open? They've understood that absolutely everything that happens can be used as material for growth, learning, or redirection. Nothing is wasted unless you waste it through resistance. Are you beginning to see the pattern here? Every single power move is about taking back control from external circumstances and placing it where it belongs, in your internal responses, interpretations, and choices. If this is resonating with you, if you're starting to see how these principles could fundamentally change your experience of life, do me a favor. Like this video right now, and leave a comment telling me which power move you're going to implement first. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because we're just getting started. The fourth power move is practicing voluntary discomfort to build resilience and appreciation. The Stoics deliberately exposed themselves to cold, hunger, physical discomfort, and simplified living conditions, not out of asceticism or self-punishment, but as training. Seneca would periodically live on minimal food and sleep on the floor. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" This practice does something remarkable to your psychology. It proves to yourself that you can handle discomfort, which removes fear of loss and hardship. Modern life is designed to eliminate all discomfort, and this makes people weak and fearful. They become so dependent on comfort that the thought of losing it creates constant anxiety. They need the perfect temperature, the perfect food, the perfect entertainment, the perfect conditions, and when they don't have these things, they suffer. The 1% have broken this dependency. They regularly practice discomfort. They take cold showers not because they enjoy them, but because it trains their mind to do hard things. They fast occasionally not just for health benefits, but to prove they aren't controlled by hunger. They say no to pleasures sometimes not because those pleasures are bad, but to maintain discipline and self-control. This has a secondary benefit that most people miss. When you regularly practice voluntary discomfort, you develop genuine appreciation for the comforts you do have. Your morning coffee becomes a real pleasure rather than an unconscious habit. A warm bed feels like luxury rather than an entitlement. Good food becomes something you're genuinely grateful for rather than something you mindlessly consume. The masses take everything for granted and are never satisfied. The 1% practice enough discomfort that they never lose their appreciation for life's pleasures. The fifth power move is maintaining what the Stoics called the view from above, the ability to zoom out and see your problems in their proper proportion. Marcus Aurelius practiced this by imagining himself rising above his body, above Rome, above the earth itself, and seeing the vastness of space and time. From that perspective, his daily concerns and anxieties seemed appropriately small. He wrote, "How small a part of the boundless and unfathomable time is assigned to every man. For it is very soon swallowed up in the eternal. And how small a part of the whole substance, and how small a part of the universal soul, and on what a small clod of the whole earth you creep." This isn't nihilism. This isn't saying nothing matters. It's about proportion and perspective. The masses catastrophize everything. Every setback feels like the end of the world. Every embarrassment feels like a permanent stain. Every failure feels like proof they're worthless. They're trapped in a microscopic view where small problems loom gigantic. The 1% have trained themselves to immediately shift perspective. When something goes wrong, they don't get trapped in the emotional intensity of the moment. They ask, will this matter in a year? In 5 years? In the grand scope of my entire life? This isn't about dismissing real problems. It's about seeing them accurately rather than through the distorted lens of immediate emotion. The sixth power move is perhaps the most challenging. They've mastered the art of memento mori, remembering death. Every Stoic philosopher emphasized this practice. They kept reminders of mortality close at hand. They regularly contemplated their own death, not morbidly, but as a tool for living fully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Seneca urged people to live each day as if it were their last. This practice does something that nothing else can. It cuts through all the trivial concerns, the petty anxieties, and the meaningless distractions that consume most people's lives. When you truly remember that you will die, that your time is finite and precious, you stop wasting it. You stop spending hours in meaningless arguments. You stop holding grudges that poison your peace. You stop procrastinating on the things that actually matter. You stop caring so much about what others think of you. You stop living for some imagined future when everything will be perfect, and you start living now. The masses live as if they have infinite time, and so they waste nearly all of it. The 1% remember death, and so they invest their time wisely. They pursue what actually matters to them. They maintain relationships that enrich their lives. They do work that has meaning. They don't get caught up in drama and nonsense because they know their time is too valuable. The seventh and final power move is this. The 1% have learned to control their attention, which is the ultimate form of control. Your attention is the most valuable resource you have. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and your life follows. The masses have completely lost control of their attention. It's captured by social media algorithms, news cycles, entertainment, advertisements, and drama. They're in a constant state of distraction, reacting to whatever stimulus comes next. They check their phones hundreds of times a day. They can't sit in silence for 5 minutes without reaching for entertainment. They're everywhere except where they actually are. The Stoics understood something modern neuroscience has confirmed. You become what you repeatedly think about. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." If your attention is constantly scattered, consumed by trivia and drama, manipulated by external forces, then your life will reflect that chaos. But if you take back control of your attention and direct it deliberately toward what matters, your life transforms. The 1% protect their attention fiercely. They're selective about what media they consume. They practice sustained focus on single tasks. They spend time in reflection and thought rather than constant consumption. They've recognized that controlling their attention is how they control their development, their emotions, their effectiveness, and ultimately their destiny. Let me synthesize all 7 power moves so you can see the complete picture. You gain control over your world by first mastering the dichotomy of control, focusing only on what you can actually influence. You build psychological resilience through negative visualization, preparing your mind for difficulties before they arrive. You practice amor fati, embracing everything that happens as material for growth. You deliberately expose yourself to discomfort to build strength and appreciation. You maintain perspective by regularly zooming out and seeing your life in proper proportion. You remember death to cut through trivial concerns and focus on what actually matters. And you protect your attention from the constant assault of distraction and manipulation. These aren't just philosophical concepts. These are practical tools that create tangible results. People who apply these principles experience less anxiety, more resilience, better decision-making, stronger relationships, and a deeper sense of meaning and control in their lives. But here's the critical point. You have to actually practice them. Knowledge without application is worthless. Understanding without action changes nothing. The 99% read about these ideas, find them interesting, and then continue living exactly as they always have. The 1% take one principle and implement it immediately. So here's what I want you to do. Pick the one power move from this video that resonated most strongly with you. Just one. And starting today, practice it deliberately for the next 30 days. If it's the dichotomy of control, catch yourself every time you're worrying about something outside your control and redirect to what you can influence. If it's negative visualization, Spend 5 minutes each morning imagining challenges and preparing your response. If it's voluntary discomfort, start taking cold showers or practice intermittent fasting. Whatever you choose, commit to it fully for 30 days and watch what happens. Subscribe to this channel for more philosophy and psychology that gives you real tools for mastery. Share this video with someone who's ready to stop being controlled by their circumstances and emotions. Leave a comment telling me which power move you're implementing first. Remember, the 1% aren't special. They're not genetically superior. They're not luckier. They simply understand and apply principles that the masses ignore. You have access to the same knowledge now. The only question is whether you'll actually use it. Control your mind, control your world. I'll see you in the next video.